Hello everyone, Luke here. Now, again, apologise for not getting this review out earlier than I expected, but there was a reason why I saved on doing the review today, and it's to do with this chapter as well. But we'll get into that when we get into it, because there is quite a lot that I want to talk about with this chapter. So without further ado, let's just dive right into it. Okay, so this will be chapter 191 of Witch Watch, titled Momotaro and Company. Now, Momotaro obviously being like a very famous figure in Japan. I mean, I don't know the full history about it, but I know Momotaro was brought up in Dr. Stone. Like, that was one of the things that Senku recognised of, like, okay, there's something going on here, because you guys don't know, like, what Dragon Quest, Monster Hunter, yeah, you don't know about those things, but you've heard of Momotaro, and from interviews that I saw of Inagaki and Boichi, one of the primary reasons why those particular things are mentioned in Dr. Stone, like Monster Hunter, Dragon Quest, Momotaro, is that they had to think of things like, okay, what would Senku realistically know? Like, would he know this pop culture thing? Would he know that pop culture thing? And I guess they picked like Monster Hunter and Dragon Quest because of the fact that like there's a lot of like he mentions like there's a lot of like chemistry, or like just like going around him. I've never played Dragon Quest or Monster Hunter, but I assume there's a lot of going around, tinkering with things, which be something up Senku's alley, and obviously he would know what Momotaro is. So yeah, it'll be those kind of things that they would be like, okay, yeah, Senku would realistically know about this. And also as well, Power Rangers Dawn Brothers was not Power Rangers, Super Sentai Dawn Brothers was based on the legend of Momotaro, but like I said, don't know much about the legend per se myself, but I do know like it's a very famous thing in Japan. So anyway, that's the name of the chapter, and it's basically revolving around like an adaptation of the Momotaro story. So we start off in Liko's new school, where we have one of the teachers going like, oh, not long until the school recital, is it? So I heard your class is doing a play, so good luck to you. Like, oh my god, yeah, I've been here myself. I've just been like, okay, I've got to sit down, think of a play, think of like, okay, especially with kids, like I have written and directed I have written a kids show and directed a kids show myself, so I know what it's like, where I've had to be like, okay, I've got this kid who's going to be in the play, like, I've got to add a part in for them to give them something to do. So I have been here. I totally get what the stress that the teacher goes through in this chapter. So this chapter was definitely right up my alley. The play that I wrote, like, I did that in a week. I basically was just like, okay, I need to think of like something really quick to put together. So I was just like, okay, just base it off like an episode of a TV show. Like, it's just something quick, could get out there, could get straight to rehearsals. So that was the thing I did. But yeah, I totally get it, because there was like in that when I did that play, like kids dropped out, kids came in. I was just like, can we keep the same number of kids? So I know the stress that was going on here. So yeah, they go on and say like, yeah, the whole class decided on it, and it's plays short are a source of conflict. Yes, they are. But in the end, everyone agreed on the story of Momotaro. So that was the story they picked, and the conflict is only just going to get started here, because everyone's going to be like, okay, who wants the part? Like, you can't all be the same part per se. As they go, what do you mean by this? And it's like, I mean roles. If you don't give a role, basically say like, okay, if you don't give this child the role that they want, their parents are going to come at you for this. And it's just like, oh my god. Fortunately, no parents came at me for when I did my play, but I can understand like the frustration of like people not getting the parts. And also, like, I remember particularly when I first did volunteering for youth drama groups, one kid was not particularly happy about the part that they actually got. They're like, I want to be this part. Why am I not that part? It's like, the kid had very difficult trouble of remembering lines. So that's why they didn't get the part they did, because that was one of the more dialogue heavy parts. So I can understand like that the kids are being like, okay, yeah, we didn't get the part, we'll go to our parents so that we can play, so that you can actually put us in the part that we want. So the teacher is being a little bit naive here of saying like, oh, will they complain? But there's only so many parts that we can give out here, and then and there's only so many prominent parts, and the other teacher just bring up like a very big question of like, yeah, that's true, but parents who come to see their shows, they're only there for, like, let's be honest, like any parent that goes to those school plays and everything, they're only there for their kid, and they only want their kid to be in the spotlight. Like, this is not just with kids, it's with adults as well, because I remember when I did 12 Nights, like a couple of years ago, my brother and my mother came to see it, and I said like, hey, you don't have to come and see it. Like, I did warn them that I wasn't going to be on stage for very long, and they were just there like, yeah, you really should have had this part or that part, but what can you do? Like, I did warn them about that, but yeah, it's with adults as well, like, they're only really there sometimes for their own, like, family, like the people that they know, they're gonna have the spotlight one, and each one must have a role. The only thing you can do is give each child what they want to prevent the oncoming storm of complaints. So, like, basically, yeah, give them what they want, but let's be honest, they're all gonna pretty much want the same part. So as the teacher goes, the teacher that's talking to Nico's teacher goes away, saying that I didn't want to deal with that crap, so I told my class we're doing this. Like, he basically was like, yeah, I know this is what's gonna happen, so my class is not doing that. We're doing a song. So good luck with you. Bye. As we have the teacher be like, okay, it's time to decide who's going to play which role, and Nico is just there, like, just really bubbly, like, I can't wait, because she pretty much knows exactly what role she wants. So as the teacher is getting ready to ask the kids, like, what part they have, he's being a bit, like, subtle about it, being like, pretty much boiling it down to saying, okay, we all know you're not going to be able to get the parts that you want, so let's not be selfish here, everyone. So who wants to be Momotaro? As we see about a dozen of them, as the teacher adequately puts it, when he goes 1, 2, 3, a dozen, and we have him going, and we have him thinking about like a parent going like, why wasn't my child not the star? Like, basically relaying the complaints they have. Yeah, you see many of them holding up their arms, including Charmy. Charmy is the one like, yeah, I don't want to be Momotaro. Before he tries to like break the ice, but like, oh, okay, we'll set that side for a side. Who's gonna be the retainers? Who wants to be the dog, the pheasant, and monkey companions? As we have two kids wanting to be the dog, and one of them wanted to be the monkey. Monkey, and he's just there like, okay, there is way too many volunteers for the same parts. And then we have someone saying, I want to be a gorilla, they're stronger than monkeys, and then we have someone saying like, I want to be a Doberman, I'll be a bear, basically picking like just random animals out in general. So like, and to the point the teacher's like, whoa, so that they're not actually in the story. You can't be animals that are not in the story. Before one of the kids is like, but the Momotoro's bodyguards, they should be strong and cool, why aren't they in the story? Like, basically complaining about how the story was actually written, and wanting to adapt it their way, which, people who know about adaptations know that fans of the original story can get pretty annoyed when things are changed, or when things are added that make absolutely no sense. We've all experienced those kinds of people, and it's pretty awesome that this teacher does not have to go through that, doesn't have like a random like parent in the audience trying like, they were in Momotaro, this is a disgrace to the Momotaro story, why are you changing the Momotaro story like that, you know the kinds of people that are like that out there. And we have him just going on thinking about like a parent like, how dare you ignore my child's needs, he wanted to be that part, you should have given him that part, so all the things, all the stress and frustration of like trying to adapt the story whilst also making everyone happy, it's just getting to the teacher. As he goes, I'm short some roles anyway, I guess I can fill out the numbers if they let me pick what they want. And then he's like, okay then, we'll have as many animal tears as there are volunteers, come up. So he's basically like, come up with whatever you want right now, like, you can't deal with this, they gotta get on with things. And he then asks like, okay, who wants to be the ogre, which obviously, given the fact that Nicole's familiar, one of Nicole's familiars is an ogre, it's Mori, it makes sense that that would be the part that she would pick, because it's like the coolest, as she puts it later in the next panel, like, well, not in the next panel, but in the next page, when they're actually at the recital, she, where we have everyone, including Baz, we have Mirio, Keigo, Khan, Mori, and Ban there. They're just like, oh, she's playing the ogre right, and she volunteered for it because she thinks it's the coolest character in the whole play. They're like, also she told me she's always had a soft spot for villains in story. Before Mirio goes, are you sure that's why? Which, and you see like just Khan and Keigo just be like not knowing what to say there, which I guess makes sense for like the Japanese, because the Japanese I don't know if this is actually true or not, but the Japanese tend to not really like villains as much as Westerners do. I mean, I guess that makes sense if you look at like series like Time Paradox Ghostfire or Psychos, where villainous acts from protagonists were portrayed. Even though with Psychos it made absolutely perfect sense, and the main character was just like, I'm sorry about what I did. Steve was what I'm sorry. So even then, people were like, nope, she stole. Absolutely not, villainous act and all of that. And I do believe My Hero Academia, even though it was quite popular in the West, wasn't quite as popular in Japan. I don't know if this is accurate or not. I could be like completely talking out my ass here, but if that's the case, it would make the reactions here all the more, yeah, this is pretty spot on here. So Mori carries on and says that, oh, Nicole said to me that her teacher, Mr. Sakurasawa. Not sure if that's a reference to anything or anyway. But yeah, Sakurasawa, he had a really rough time editing the script for the play. Yeah, be there myself. I'm editing I'm editing Hamlet at the moment because I really want to do that with my drama group that I'm part of. But also I've done Measure for Measure and Take Me to Shoe, and let me tell you, it is hard. It is hard because you've got to think like, okay, realistically, how much time do we have, and how many parts do we have, and how many people we have. Like, how many people are in the play? Like, that really is like, okay, this is either going to make or break it, because you really have to make changes there, like doubling it up, tripling it up sometimes. Like when I did the Tempest, I had to double up and play two parts, and we had to get that whole play out in just an hour and 50 minutes. We did it. We succeeded at that, but it was hard. It was hard, and so yeah, I know so well. And this is one thing that I think a lot of manga fans tend to forget when adapting manga to anime. Like they've really got to think like, okay, we only have a set time limit here, and even with manga shops, there's only like a set number of pages that you have, so you really have to think like, okay, realistically, can I get everything in this chapter or this episode within the span of the time limit that we actually have. So yeah, we know where. So yeah, I know how hard it is to go through the whole adaptation process. Where some people are like, oh, why don't you just copy it paste for paste? Like, okay, if I did that for Hamlet, it would be 4 hours long. Like, seriously, that would be how long it would actually be. But that's besides the point. They realise that they're not doing just the plain old Momotaro story, because they've got to think like, okay, parent sensibility and modern parents approval of modern sensibility, take them into account as they go on talking about a tale about a tanuki who was just a mild prankster and a rabbit that doesn't kill him, and in the end they become best friends. So they're going on like, it's a non-violent teaching materials kind of thing. So trying to get everyone happy so that they end up being friends. And Moya continues on and says, they expect a play where everyone gets the part that they want. It's non-violent, entirely in keeping with the tunes, and being and both the good and bad guys get a happy ending. So we now finally get into the actual story itself. So I really would want to do this with like as like a Rakugo story, but don't have time. So long time ago in a faraway land, there was an old man, but he was still healthy and looked young for his age. And having received his national pension, he decides to spend his retirement in the countryside. Before everyone's just like, wait, what is actually going on here? What is actually going on? And so, like, in their minds, they're like, okay, yeah, this is different from what we expected. Before the story continues on by saying his partner joined him. She'd been a Korean woman in her youth, working in management. She made the conscious decision to not have any children in order to preserve the work-life balance. She wanted, now that she was older and had retired, she decided to follow her husband out into the countryside. So yeah, basically going through the long-winded style of storytelling. Before Khan says, come on, why bother with all of that? What's wrong with just being a grandma and a grandpa? So yeah, this was what Moy meant by that modern sensibility, trying to be all PC on us, essentially, and they continue on the story as the teacher is doing the narration before it gets to a point where the grandma in the story finds this big peach tree, and she just not this big peach tree, this big peach like James and the Giant Peach. She just accepts it right away. So out of the peach pops 12 healthy babies. So this is a long round way to get to the story of Momotaro. Like, all of this is just the prologue that they're actually going through. Before we have Khan again going like, wait, there's that many babies in the story. As Moy's like, yeah, the teacher gave them every single part. So the teacher gave the part, basically split the role of Momotaro up between 12 different people, but still it's going to be like one central Momotaro in the story, as it soon goes on with the grandpa in the story going, 12 of them, my word, this is a bit too much. So he promptly grabs some official newborn ID bands and put them on the babies, and he gives a pink band to Charmy's character, who's going to be like the main Momotaro, which makes sense that it was Charmy that got the main Momotaro part, because of the fact that she's the most experienced out of all the kids here. Like, in terms of acting, she's the one with the most experience, so it makes sense that she got like the main central role. So the grandparent story continues on by giving colours out. So red goes to Akataro. And there's another one called Awataro and Shirotaro, before people start questioning, as it continues going on with Karia Taro, Ferdinand Taro, Ultramarine Taro. They're like, okay, are you going to have enough colours for the 12 kids? I mean, if you can have 12 Power Rangers or 12 Super Sentai Rangers, then yeah, you can. Like, there's red and yellow and pink and green, purple, orange and blue, and we've had grey. We've had grey Power Ranger. We've had silver, gold. We've had a different shade of red and a different shade of blue. So there have been ways to get around like the colours thing here. But yeah, there's a lot of babies and newborn ID tags. Before they continue the story by saying one day the village held a meeting about what they're going to do about an ogre that has been raiding the villages. Kitaro, Shirataro, Chataro, Usa Bin Taro, familiar top. Basically, a bunch of the Momotaros. Like, it's hot. These names are like a mouthful to get through. They all oppose the idea of hunting the ogre down and start arguing between each other. Before in the play, one of them says, "I'm sure the ogre has reasons for doing what they're doing. I don't think it's right to divide people away just because they're different from us." Before we have one of the characters referencing Onigashima, like, "Hey, Onigashima from One Piece," and they're gonna run into Kaido there. For saying a resourceful poor eye, and it's possible the ogre has to do. Is Nico Kaido in this story? Is Nico Kaido in this story? That would be that would actually be like really funny if Nico turned out to be like just a parody of Kaido from One Piece. That would be funny. But yeah, continuing on. We have someone say, like, do we really need this kind of discussion in a kids play? Well, when all the kids want all the parts and it's like difficult, like we have to get through we have to compromise in some way here before we have Charming as Momotaro say, like, maybe there's not an excuse for stealing. No, maybe that's not an excuse for stealing. So yeah, it pretty much is like hammering it on the head, like, yeah. No matter what, even if they have a legitimate reason, like, you either steal this piece of food or you die, they're like, kill them, let them die. Like, there's no excuse for stealing. Like, no, there really can be excuses at times. Like, is it right? No. But is it understandable? Yes. So, yeah. That is pretty much, I guess, the kind of mentality Japan actually has. Everyone has their own way of living, and ogres do too. It's obvious, I get that. But what about the people who had their crops ruined and their jewels not? Like, what about the people? What about the people who, like, hey, who slip through the cracks here? Like, yeah, this is something like this is a debate. This is a debate that I really think, that I really hope in the future does come up in more Japanese stories, to give the Japanese an idea, to give mainly the Japanese audience a different perspective. Whether they take that or not, that's another story. But anyway, they got Chami's Momotaro goes on and says, but my best friend Yukio's house got destroyed, so I'm going to Onigashima. Those of you who are with me, follow along. But yeah, everyone takes notice of, like, Charmy's acting. Like, she's acting her heart out here. Like, she's putting 110% into this role. Before this, that's the pro child actor for you. The entire stage instantly is livening up. What's a pro doing, trying to take over an elementary school stage? Like, she's still an elementary school student. She just happens to be a child actor. That's why she has taken over the stage. Like, she is out-acting everyone here because she has the most experience. I don't know why I got so angry there. I really don't. So in the context of the story, as Charmy is leading everyone down who wants to go and face the ogre, and they're going down to half the towels. We have them going. We have them meeting. They're coming across a dog on the way who becomes one of the companions, and then there is another dog, which Keigo, Mori and Khan immediately pick up on. Like, another dog And this is where Mori explains to like, okay, yeah, I heard the teacher let everyone pick out the part that they actually want, so whatever animal they want. Khan is just there like, yeah, but why do we need two dogs? We don't need it. This is just over compensating. And they meet another dog and they're like, how many dogs are in this play? And this is why I wanted to wait for the for this particular day to do this, because we have here a gorilla, a pigeon, which someone mistakes for a pheasant, Hercules beetle, and somebody questioned like, what's a Hercules beetle supposed to? Well, what's a bug supposed to do? Like, hey, are you? Hey, don't diss on the Hercules beetles. Like, they're one of the strongest animals in the world. It's like, it's no wonder Heracross from Pokemon is based on one. And there is that's a sort of reference to what we're getting to here. So we also have a Tyrannosaurus Rex. So I guess Guilmon from Digimon Eat Your Heart, or the Tyrannosaurus Rex from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, just about any dinosaur themed Power Ranger series. We also have Inosuke from Demon Slayer here in this play as well, which people rightfully point out, yeah, he's not an animal. Like, I only know the bare basics of Demon Slayer, but no, Inosuke wears the mask because he hides the fact that because he wants to look big. I believe he's the kind of character who's just like, I want to act big and tough and be like the big tough masculine Kenpachi guy, but underneath he's like, oh my god, he's so charming, he's so pretty kind of character. I believe that's what Inosuke's character is. But yeah, I never. This is like the most bizarre image that they could have come up with. Like they must have been. I want to meet the author of Witch Watch just to ask him like one question and be like, how on earth did you come up with these ideas here? So yeah, we have Inosuke, we have a sumo wrestler, we have a Beyblade, and this was like the image that just like really got me like, okay, I did not expect this, and quite frankly, I wish I did not see this. We have a Beyblade and a Blue Eyes White Dragon card, which this is the reason why I left it for this day, is because of the Yu-Gi-Oh reference right here. Because today, what came out on the Nintendo Switch was Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days Collection with many of the early Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games, which I'm going to be playing some after I've done this review, which I'm really looking forward to. But yeah, in terms of the Blue Eyes White Dragon, I really hope that in that game I can steal all of Kaiba's Blue Eyes White Dragons and then just have it rubbing in his face like, I've got your blue eyes, Kaiba. But yeah, so that was like the reason why I left it to today, because it came out. Well, the review's going to come out tomorrow. The review's going to come out on Friday, but on Thursday was the day that I actually got the game, and I'm waiting for this moment. So yeah, point is that we have Blue Eyes and Beyblade in between the current US president. I am not going to say his name because. I do not want to get all political here. But yeah, they go on and say, now they're just raiding a party goods store for massive, like they're just raiding everything. So yeah, the last ones are, I'm sure, a strong guy. It's just a guy who's like me. Just me, and we have another sumo wrestler, and we have a strong guy from the year 5000. Like, this is just like the most bizarre image ever in a manga, in my opinion. So yeah, wrapping up the chapter because we're very near the end. It's a short chapter, this one, only 15 pages, but there was a lot packed in this chapter. Like, he went out of his way with this chapter. The author of the manga, he really outdid himself this week, which I'm gonna give props for. Short. Only 15 pages, but a lot packed in here. Kind of reminds me of One Piece in a way. So yeah, with their companions in tow, they reach the island, but there's way too many of them. There's 6 towers and 50 companions. It's a massive party. Again, kind of similar to One Piece, where there's just so many characters. I mean, the Straw Hats, like central characters, only like 10 members, but still, that is a little too much at times. To the point that Oda keeps having to split them up. But not only that, it's the same with 100 Girlfriends. Like, they're really going all out with all 100 Girlfriends, even though at times, yeah, it can be a bit too hectic and too much. But yeah, everyone just look like they're enjoying themselves playing the role they picked. So hey, you can't blame it. Like the teacher made sure everyone was happy because there were so many of them. They split up into 4 boats. Maybe, there was a bit of discussion over who should go in which boat before they finally get to the end and they find Nico, who's just the one ogre there, and everyone's there just like one, and they're just like how come Nico is the only ogre? And basically, again, she was the only one who actually volunteered for that part. Few people want to be the villain, I suppose. Like, hey, I don't mind playing villains. Like, again, I really would like to sit down with a group of people from Japan and just ask, like, okay, why do you guys not like villains in stories? Like, that would be like a question I would love to know the different perspectives on, of like why people in Japan don't tend to like villains all that much, or don't seem to like playing villains. I guess that's a thing as well. But there was 21 of the other guys, so she's gonna get steamrolled, and the tower summoned the ogre to talk about and talking about being completely outnumbered, and she can't, and nobody can bear to watch this before we have some of the Taros taking the ogre's side. So basically turning the offensive on her, like some of the Taros go on to the villain side, which is a major turn of offense, and didn't expect the other 6 towers to come back like this. And there are 28 people on stage, 28 of them. So there's confirmed 28 classmates of Nico. Well, 27. Well, there's 26 classmates of Charmy and Nico, and Nico and Charmy themselves make 28. Some of the animals are defecting to the other side, and it's going to turn is this going to turn into one big animal ball? Like, these are all the questions going through the audience's mind here before they're like, no, we don't want violence, go on, apologise for what you did wrong. So basically, Nico's character in the story apologised for everything, and Charmy's Momotaro goes on to say, when you look at it from a different angle, justice can take many forms, so we forgive you. And the teacher overthought this so hard, like, he totally lost track of who's good guy and bad guy. Like, yeah, that can happen sometimes, like, you, unless you, like, really have notes down, and, like, okay, like, this is why I have to have notes all the time for when I'm writing stuff, like, because you can lose track sometimes, like, what's going on in your own story sometimes, so you have to, like, have a big note of, like, okay, this is who this is who they are, relation, like, are they good guy or bad guy, before we have them wrapping up the story by saying, the ogre moved into the village as their bodyguard, and everyone is happily every hour because the ogres are the strongest and coolest of them all, and everyone got the part they wanted. It kept with the times. It was non-fire. It wrapped up with on big happy ending again. That's where chapter ends. So, wow. What an insane chapter. Like, this is probably one of my favourite chapters of Witch Watch in a while, just because of how bizarre, wacky it is, even by the standards of Witch Watch. Like I said, this is why I love this series, because, like with 100 Girlfriends, you don't know what you're going to get from week to week. You could have a serious story, or you could have a slice of life chapter, or you could just have, like, pure random nonsense. Like, this chapter was just pure random nonsense. So, yeah, I have no idea what we're going to get next week, or this week coming on Sunday, but I am here for the ride. I love this series, and I can't wait to see more. So, anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz, and this will be Lasherluke signing off. Later, guys.